As you can tell by this look, this is another episode of Unedited LuuLuu. And with not editing, you get what you get. You get me in the most rawest form ever. So here I sit. First off, let's just talk about, Illinois, we are legal now. Not to say that this was not going on before we weren't legal, but it's like once you become legal, once your state becomes legal for cannabis, it's like, it then becomes a free for all. Not to say that it isn't usually, but because people who smoke get smoke, right? But I'm sorry, I think I'm looking at my eyes. Hold on. Sorry, I saw some glue. Hold on. Okay, I feel a little better. I'm back. Whew. Okay, so yeah, excuse the braids, y'all. This is going to bed, Lou. So a couple of things going on. I am, B and Brandon went on the bees went on their anniversary trip. So it's just me and Bakari, me and G-Son, and babysitter had an emergency, didn't come today. So I started today. I thought I was gonna have a little break, but I didn't. So I'm gonna have him and this whole weekend, 3 days straight. And so I'm trying to work out things, and because let me tell you, he wore me out today, y'all. He wore me out, but that's a whole different story. That's not why we're here. That's not what's in my head. That's not what I came to talk about. Because something happened, and this was the catalyst for this thought. So I was thinking about, so here's where I was going. I was thinking about dealing with loss and grief, and just processing things and not letting it stop you. And okay, so let me try to say what I mean. Okay, I was watching Hoarders. I went on a Hoarders binge a while ago. And, hoarders make you feel some type of way about yourself. Like right now, I know I need to clean up because I feel like I'm a hoarder right now, but that's another story. But anyway, part of what I noticed was that quite a few of the people that are hoarders, a lot of what their catalyst for becoming this way was a loss. Like maybe they lost a loved one, or someone broke their heart, or a lot of times grief about death and everything, and then they started hoarding. And so it made me think about things, and I was thinking about things because then somebody else, and they're having a hard time dealing with something, and I was like, I think I always say grief is a solitary journey, and it's different for everybody. But I also think that a lot of times, not just talking about losing someone, but just in general, a lot of us have not been taught how to process and deal with adversity and things that go wrong in life. Yes, sometimes we get overwhelmed with things, but you got to keep moving. And so I'm going to say this for, and I know people are like, I know I don't talk a lot, but let me give y'all some examples. And so sometimes I have to watch myself because I don't want to seem non-empathetic, not sympathetic, but empathetic, because and sometimes I might not seem like I am not being as empathetic as people think, because I look at things from a different standpoint, because I think that, okay, this is a part of life and you got to process and you got to deal with it. So yes, you're always going to have sadness, yes, but you got to be able to process it and work through it. Not saying that, and sometimes if you're not doing it well, you need to go talk to somebody and work through it before it overcomes your life and you lose sight and you can't do anything and it stops you. And so I'm saying that because I've noticed this is that not only with young people that they don't process things well, but a lot of older people don't. And I think that's because I read years ago The Road Less Traveled by M. Scott Peck, and I need to pull it out again and read it again. And the first thing he says is that life is hard. And he says that, life is not going to be easy all the time. And once you can understand that, you can really, you are one step on that road less traveled, because you have a better outlook on things. And that's very true. Life is going to have its hard moments. If you're lucky, you won't have that many, but understand, when you do, that's just part of life. And so I struggle with my responses to people, because I'm gonna give you sympathy in the moment, especially if something tragic happens. But I can't keep giving it to you forever, because I need you to be strong. I think part of being a person is finding strength within, because the beauty of being a person, of being human, is that we have this inner strength that if you just tap into it, it can just, you can make it through things. And so I know I don't talk a lot about things, but for instance, let me just give you for instance. Many of you know about what the thing that happened with my ex-husband. There is a video about, the HIV and everything, and the end of my marriage. And it was a rough time. There was so much going on. There's so much that I don't even really discuss. But there was like, I lost my sisters and me. We lost our relationship during that time, because they came at me crazy, and I was under so much stress. I just couldn't. And some other things were going on, and so something happened to Bianca that I was dealing with. It was so much going on, and it just kept piling on and piling on and piling on, and I remember it was like, my marriage was over. I was scared that I had HIV and hepatitis C. I was dealing with that. I was trying to have, I had a job I was trying to have. That's when I got hired by the, because I had to stop substitute teaching, because my soon-to-be ex-husband had gotten caught up on, almost got banned from, well, he almost got arrested on something crazy, about his phone and a nude picture. Girl, honey, I ain't never told y'all that story. My members remind me to tell y'all that story, because it's a wild ass story. And so that happened, and then I couldn't go into the schools because of, it was just so much going on. And so I got this job. I barely had money to get to work. I kid y'all not. I was like walking part of the way to work, because I was taking the bus, and there was no bus that would get me to the casino so I could take this class. So I was walking every day, like 2.5, 3 miles to get to work. And then luckily somebody would give me a ride. I was having to like take buses, because I couldn't take the train because it cost too much. And until I started getting paid. And then it was just a whole lot going on. And then a friend of mine gave me a car to drive, because I didn't have a car at the time. So he gave me a car. He was a mechanic. So if somebody just left a car and never came back and got it. So he's like, look, the license plates are good, the tags are good, just don't get stopped. And I was like, okay. And so I was driving that car and everything, and then I was dealing with all of that, and it was just a lot on my plate. And as you say, I always say, sometimes your plate gets to cracking, and my plate was cracking. Everything on my plate was so heavy. And so I was dealing with all of that. And then I remember sitting outside my friend's house, and I was like, God, I don't know how much more I can take. I was like, I don't know how much more I can take. I feel like I'm going to break. And I said this to myself. And and that's how I really felt. And I promise y'all, the very next day, that night there was a storm. And I came outside the very next day, and the car my friend had gave me to drive, a branch from a tree had fallen and had cracked the windshield. Like, I had to get it fixed. It was cracked straight across, everything. And I saw that, and I was just like, are you kidding me? And I was in tears. I sat there and I cried, because I was like, I can't take no more, right? I just don't think I could take anymore. But then at that moment I said, okay, what do you have to do? So then while I'm sitting there crying, I'm thinking, okay, let me see what I can do. How can I get this fixed? Because I need this car to get to work. So I called my friend who's a mechanic. He was like, I don't work on stuff like that, but let me take you where to get it done. I'm going to take you to, the shop. They're going to fix it for you. took it there. They fixed it for like $100 something. He took care of it because I didn't have the money, and I was able to go to work. But at that moment, I just still felt so defeated. I was like, damn, is this how much more can happen? How much more? And then soon after that, that's when I found out that I was sick. And I wound up in the hospital. And I wound up where they thought I had cancer. They thought I had leukemia. And I had to go have a bone marrow biopsy. And for 3 weeks, I didn't know if I was living or dying. And the doctors was treating me like I was 4th stage cancer. And I had based on everything, the way my body was acting, it was acting like I was about to die. I was trying to process that, trying to figure out what to do with my kids. All those things happened. And you know what I did throughout all of that? I kept working. I kept moving forward because I had my kids to think about. I had, Bianca and DJ. Even though DJ had sent to his father, and Bianca was away at school, they're still my children. I had to think about them. So even though life was crumbling around me, I knew that I had to keep moving forward because it wasn't just about me. And other times in my life where things have happened, I had to remember it wasn't just about me, and to make sure that I kept moving and always think about what I need to do to get me through a situation. Now, it might take me a while. Things might not work out the way I needed to at that moment, but I was always on the process of going. And I'll be honest with you, I've always, no matter what has happened, always believed deep in my soul, in my heart, that I can make it through. No matter what, I always think I can make it through because I got enough sense, I got enough intelligence to come up with something, to figure out some way to make it through. I don't care what it costs, what it takes, what I have to do. I will figure out a way to make it through. And so deep in my soul, because I think I know this, I believe it so strongly, I make it through those situations. And don't get me wrong, they're rough, and I've cried, and I thought I couldn't make it through, and I've been weak, and I didn't know what was going to happen, and I made it through. I'm still here. And so I'm saying that to say, if you're going through some stuff, believe in your soul that you can make it through. Now, understand that doesn't mean you have to do everything by yourself. That means that you have to then start thinking about, how can I make it through? What can I do to make it through? It ain't about just being, a solitary being, but think about things like, what are the resources that I have available to me to help me get through the situation, to get me to the other side of the situation? And that's not to say that that's always going to happen, but at least if you can feel that way, you can start the movement in that direction. And even if you don't get fully out of there as soon as you think you will, eventually you will. I can honestly say that my life throughout these years since I left my husband, I was in 2008, my ex-husband, I've had ups and downs, I've had good times and everything, but at this moment, I feel like I have made it through finally. You know what I'm saying? It's, no matter what I have done from this time to that, I was still, there were moments where I was still out there floundering and trying to figure it out. And even though there's still some things I'm working on, I feel more comfortable. I feel more like I am where I should be, and my life is going well. And there was and I can honestly say this is the best that I feel about life personally, on a personal level, since then, and it took a long time. But during that time, I wasn't just sitting there thinking, just stopped and not moving. Because think about it. Think about how devastating it is to find out someone that you love for 9 years had been lying to you on a deep level. Not just, oh, he was cheating on me, he had another woman or nothing, but put me at risk every day that we were together. No matter what he says, no matter what people say, I was still at risk because I had no idea. So just think about how devastating that is. Now, that could have just stopped me right there. I could have just stopped. And then on top of it, getting sick to the point that I didn't know if I was going to live or die. That could have just just ended me, and just made me just, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna, just in a ball by myself, crying, just giving up on life. But you can't give up on life. You gotta say, okay, how can I get through this situation? How do I get to the next point? Keep moving. No, my moves weren't always the best during these years. I promise you they weren't. But they all had a purpose, and they did teach me something along the way. I've had great times, met great people, but also I know that I wasn't whole, and I had to be honest with myself and say I wasn't whole. And I feel more whole, even though I don't have, a relationship or anything like that. Personally, I feel whole. I feel like I am in a good space. My life is going well. I'm doing the things that I need to do to make me feel comfortable. And I am coming back to who I was. Many of the things that you all see me doing now, like plants and talking about tarot cards and all those things, those were part of me that I kind of let go, because I think that, that was part of that life. And slowly but surely, my life, I have come back to who I am as a person, who makes me happy, who I'm comfortable with, and moving in a purposeful manner, from professional to everything. And so, and I have goals, and I have, the plan, and even though it's not a full-fledged plan, but I know where I want to be, and I'm working on getting there. So I'm saying that to say that it takes time. It really does. It's not something that happens overnight. You don't fix some shit that's devastating to you overnight. Sometimes it takes years. I'm talking over 10 years. Yes, I've done well, and it's been a process. And, I've been doing pretty good for the last few years. But it took me a while to be honest and say, okay, I'm whole. I'm whole again. I feel more like me. I'm happier now. I'm more relaxed, and life is good, really good. I mean, I can say that, and I'm happy, and I'm good, and I'm all and I have no regrets, even for all the things I did in these last few years. I have no regrets. I've met beautiful people. I've done wild ass things. I've had lots of good times. But there was a part of me that wasn't whole yet. And I feel much better, more relaxed, more settled, better. And so I want everyone to get to that point. So if you are in a space where things aren't well, understand that it ain't gonna last forever. And that I always say you want to be like bamboo. Be strong like bamboo. Bamboo can bend in a storm to the ground. And when the storm is over, it comes back up, stands straight. And that's what you want to be in this life. You want to be bamboo, because sometimes life is going to bend you. Life is going to put you through a storm. Life is going to bend you down until you touch the ground. Until you are touching the ground. But don't ever let it break you. Be like bamboo, because you can make it through that storm, and when the storm is over, you can stand straight and be strong and be healthy and be beautiful and vibrant and all those wonderful things again. So stay strong right now. Whatever you're going through, stay strong. Find a way to see that light at the end of it. Find a way to just keep taking them steps. Keep moving forward. Keep moving forward. Every little step you take gets you closer to where you need to be. Even if they're small steps. Even if sometimes you go 2 steps back. Even if you stuck in one spot for a while. Still keep thinking, how can I move forward? How can I do this? How can I get where I want to be? All right, so that's it. That's Unedited LuuLuu. I'm not going to keep going on. That was just, in my head, wanted to share. All right, y'all. I will talk to y'all again later. See ya. And there's going to be some that I'm actually, prepared for, kind of cute and, talking about real content like, perfume and beauty and plants or halls or whatever, the stuff I normally talk about. But I think sometimes it's okay just to have these conversations with the stuff that sits in my head. All right, talk to you later. Be bold, be brave, be fearless, be free.